Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2. Team PCM versus Team XLNC. Team XLNC able to come out with a win in game number 1, but the goal was pretty much even until the final couple of fights. So this game could be very similar in how even these two teams play. Excited to see how these bans come down. What are your thoughts after game number 1, Wraith? Give it to me.
Ban Vel'Koz?
Oh, well, they didn't ban it this time around, and
they didn't ban it.
And keep in mind, there's the option to pick Rek'sai, which you also mentioned was a really crucial member. And this time, PCM on the blue side, they could first pick the Rek'sai if they wanted to.
You see, the thing is I don't think the Rek'sai was as much of an impact as Experiment's macro, though. I think he could have done that on any champion. Rek'sai, very strong at the moment, but I still think it was more of Experiment's mind game than necessarily the champion that he was playing on, versus the fact that Vel'Koz was an absolute terror. But please first pick it. I mean, it worked. First pick it. No. We're waiting.
Oh,
okay, the Hecarim. Alright, that's spicy.
There's some potential flexing. Could put it in the jungle, could put it in the top lane, but blind picking Hecarim is so interesting. You have to think that that's a counter to Rek'Sai, not a top lane blind pick, because there's so many champions that could go against Hecarim in the top if you were to pick that. And they're going to lock in Leona as the support. These are some off-the-wall picks. I love Leona. I play her as a one-trick myself. She is not meta, but I could talk about her all day.
Yeah, I kind of have a mixed relationship with Leona. When you're ahead, there's like no champion that feels better than Leona. But when you're behind, I can't think of a support that feels worse to play than Leona. Because it's like you have one button, you go in, and then you like melt their face in.
Well, with the recent changes to her Zenith Blade, she can go in far more often now, so keep that in mind. They dropped, I think, towards the later stages of the game, 3 seconds off of that Zenith Blade, so you're going to be jumping in all the time. As you said, an engage-heavy champion and one who wants to be in the lead, and blind picking it is really, really interesting because there's situations like this where the enemy team can grab Sivir. That spell shield going to be so nice. You actually let Leona hit you with that Zenith Blade, then spell shield her Q, and you can avoid a lot of that CC. Now, level 6 and on, she's going to have her ultimate as well. One of the people that's going to be hard to hit with that ultimate, though, is Zoe, as Snowberry locks that in, most likely for Hexius in the mid lane. We saw Hexius play fairly well last game on the Cassiopeia. This time, Zoe, a little bit different, but a lot more range.
Yeah, and not locking in the Vel'Koz quite yet. And there is the potential for it to be banned away once again. Unfortunate, because I think that the blind pick would have been good in that situation. There are a lot of counters, of course, to Vel'Koz. You have an assassin who can get really close. It can be pretty difficult. But the Vladimir taken off the table, my personal least favorite champion to play against. I mean, there's just no counterplay when he gets ahead. He pops Ghost, he pops Hextech Protobelt, cools, runs underneath your yeah, that's what I was expecting. Runs underneath your team, nukes your backline, and then you dump all your damage into him, and by the time his ult pops, he's at full health again, and you have no ultimates.
I have to feel like Demonius allowed the Vel'Koz to be banned away and said, you know what, I'm not interested in playing it against the Zoe anyway. If you think about Vel'Koz, he's a very immobile champion. He wants to poke you from a massive distance, but he doesn't move that much. He's very slow with his base mobility. And Zoe, if she finds a paddle star from half the screen away, sorry, you're pretty ranged as Vel'Koz, but you don't outrange a Zoe's paddle star. And so it could be that Demonius is looking for something with a bit more mobility and a bit more self-protection in case those paddle stars come through. I wouldn't be terribly shocked if he grabs an Orianna, because he's played that a bunch before. She's pretty good about, she gets onto someone with that shockwave, being able to catch people out. Plus, it combined with Leona and the Hecarim could be pretty impressive. They're going to wait on this mid lane until they see the entire team of PCM PCM before they pick something for Demonius, which I approve.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. The Jax for the top side. Anybody who's on the stream a lot knows that one of my favorite sayings is Jax deals way too much damage and is way too hard of a carry for the minimal amount of brain cells it takes to play the champion. You don't really have to think to play Jax. You just hit them with a lamppost until they die. But amazing late game carry, and definitely with the Leona, Hecarim, you have the go button, but you also have the split push win condition in the late game, and Kennen gonna be locked in. That's gonna be difficult for Jax in the early game, but if it goes even, there comes a point where Jax just jumps on Kennen and he dies. Just like, whoop, and dead mouse. But we don't see definitely giving over that counter pick to Demonius. So we've got the whole enemy team. What does he pick up?
And it's a Janna, a squishy Janna as the support for PCM. I'm not sure that I like that, especially because that tornado can take a very long time to actually build up and be useful. The ultimate's pretty nice, especially if you're trying to disengage a Leona. However, that's not going to affect a Hecarim, and if Leona grabs the Zenith Blade, she's still going to be able to chase you down. It's not until after the Zenith Blade is completed that you can knock her away on that Janna. So it's a very high skill cap play in the mid lane. Sylas was considered. It's going to be Syndra grabbed by Demonius. Long range, massive poke once again. But this time, he'll chase Zoe with the unleashed power. Chase Zoe no matter how many portals she jumps through.
Yep. Let's see. That's the thing. Zoe is a deceptively immobile champion. She looks really mobile. You watch her, she's jumping around, doing all kinds of flips and stuff, and you're like, wait, she really only jumps forward and then back, but she doesn't actually displace herself at all. She's not like LeBlanc, who can choose to stay if she wants to. It's definitely one of those, if you aim all your skill shots where she's going to be in 1 second, you can really mess up Zoe. Especially if Hurricanes has the wherewithal to drop a trap on top of Zoe. I always like playing Caitlyn into somebody like a Kennen, somebody like a Zoe who has either predictive movement or likes to buy Zhonya's Hourglass. I love Zhonya's Hourglass when I'm playing Caitlyn, because then you drop a little trap right on top of them, and they're basically dead. Because late game, a headshot with the empowered damage from trap deals an obscene amount of damage. Like, have you ever stepped on a Caitlyn trap and then you just get that, oh! It's like you lost all of your health, and it was just one auto, and it was like an intercontinental ballistic missile and hit you in the face.
If it doesn't kill you, that trap is going to be setting up for the Leona CC, the Syndra CC, the Hecarim CC. There's plenty of people to follow up if Caitlyn doesn't do the job herself. Either way, let's roll through the players and their champions for this game number 2. As we have a new top laner for the side of PCM. We've got Aizen Rice Master on the Kennen in the top, Snowberry with the Rek'Sai in the jungle, Hexys with the Zoe in the mid lane, Oshawott with the Sivir in the bottom lane AD carry role, and Darkess on Janna in the supportive role.
And for the side of Team Excellency, we've got Experiment 626 on Jax in the top lane, Mike Oxmall Bros taking Hecarim in the jungle, Demonius the God returning to us with Syndra in the mid lane, Hurricanes taking Caitlyn in the bottom lane ABC role, and Applause rounding out the composition with Leona in the bottom lane supportive role. I like it.
This is pretty wild overall composition-wise, because you got some pretty heavy pick potential with the Zoe Bubble as well as Janna Tornadoes, but at the same time, to me, there's a little bit of a separation between those that are wanting to go in and those that are wanting to stay back. Because you've got Kennen and Rek'Sai that are dive forward. They're all in 100%. But then you have Zoe, who never wants to be in the fight. She wants to be way back here, throwing out those paddle stars. Same with Sivir, wants to be way back here, throwing out a couple of auto attacks and her Q. And then you have Janna, who wants to be way back because she's so incredibly squishy and dropping those shields. So that disconnect could be much more dangerous than the side of Team Excellency that have the Hecarim and Leona diving forward. Caitlyn, Syndra, and Jax, as you said, they do have a split push potential, but in a 5v5 fight, those three will be always moving forward because Caitlyn needs to land the traps to get the Qs, or to get the headshots. Syndra needs to land the stuns, and that's a fairly short-range spell to be able to pop off. So, I don't know. I feel like XLNC just has a team synergy that's a little bit better.
I do like XLNC's composition a lot better. Caitlyn and Syndra are backliners, though. Kate, she's ideal when you set up your traps around her. That's kind of the idea of the sniper motif. You know, you can kind of set up your own little foxhole in the backline, and if people dive onto you, then they're going to have problems. But I do completely agree with your analysis of PCM composition, that you have this kind of weird divide that in goes the cannon, in goes the Rek'sai, but Sivir really, really likes to have a front line in front of her so she can auto-attack. Really, she likes to have a front line in front of her on both sides. She likes having a Scion on the enemy team and a Poppy on her side so that you have those big meat walls. She can auto down onto the tank and then get those ricochet bounces onto the back line while not being a terrible amount of threat herself. I mean, if you get close to a Jax with Sivir, that's a problem. If you get close to a Hecarim with Sivir, that's a big problem. So the 80 carry selection in the bot lane, I have to heavily give it to Caitlyn, not just for the laning matchup, but for the ease of access to teamfight in the late game. I don't think that Caitlyn Leona is necessarily the best pairing into a Janna who has a lot of a disengage potential, and if she's playing well, can completely deny Leona's engage. But all in all, I feel like 5v5 team fight way in the favor of XLNC. Once again, we've always got to mention the actual mechanics of the laning phase. If Kennen gets way ahead and just jumps in at half healths or 3/4 healths, all of the carries on the enemy team and stuns them up, I mean, that can be the end of a fight right there. So it's worth noting that Kennen gets ahead. Zoe, massive pick potential. You land sleep, triple bubble, and then you hit a paddle start and somebody's just gone. There's that potential. But in the front to back fight, Syndra, I feel like, is a lot more useful than Zoe. The potential of that large stun coming down, especially if you drop the ultimate first and then just get all of those AoE spheres out.
Scatter the weak.
Experiment, I feel like, is going to win the side lane duel in the late game. I feel like that's kind of inevitable. And in the bot side, I just like Caitlyn and Leona better in terms of late game impact than Sivir and Janna.
Keep in mind, Rek'sai was a pretty big monster last game. We saw a lot of plays around the mid and bottom side, getting off a little bit of damage, then going in for that ultimate and picking up some early kills. So we'll keep our eyes on PCM, as this time around, Snowberry is the one that has that Rek'sai, as Hex Eyes is how to say that name. Hex Eyes in mid lane, taking a pretty bad trade, actually. The Electrocute from Demonius, a nice end to that little bit of a fight in that mid lane. Now, Kennen going to have that advantage, as you said, against the Jax in the top lane due to the range advantage. However, Jax, once he hits level 6, could make some plays of his own. Both junglers on that top side.
You got the shove advantage on the bot side, and you're likely going to get... Hold on, we've got the level 2 engage in the top side. Experiment going to take a hefty chunk of damage on that trade, but Kennen's level 2 all in, not exactly a legendary threat.
I'm more terrified of the Kennen level 2 than a Riven level 2. It's just, he's white and scary, and he goes, "Yeah" at me. Oh, Scatter the Weak in the mid lane, plus that Electrocute puts Hex Eyes down to about half health. He's going to pop a potion, I believe that was, to get back to about half. Now, this is also interesting. Zoe's actually running heal at the moment as the secondary spell, so no Ignite. Maybe not looking so much for kills as kind of surviving the mid-game or the early game against the Syndra.
I think that's definitely valid considering what Demonius did in the last game. I think the odds of Hexus getting into a situation where Ignite would be useful in the lane phase in a 1v1 against the Syndra is going to be pretty few and far between. So opting for the more defensive summoner spell, I think, is wise, though I probably think that heal is less ideal than barrier, really. Experiment taking a lot of harass underneath that tower, though. Kennen, 18 CS to 16, though. Despite the harass, Experiment doing very well.
Oh, in the mid lane, Snowberry, flash knock up onto Demonius. Keep in mind, Syndra has flash available. Flashes away from Sleepy Time, Trouble Bubble, not going to land. Good play, gets Demonius out, but it is a flash burned. So keep that in mind over the next couple of minutes. Did want to also mention that Kennen in the top lane has Klepto, so is looking for just to farm as much gold off of this Jax as possible.
I also just want to note that the fact that Demonius popped his pot...
Well, hold on!
Whoa!
Hecarim engaging in the mid lane, only level 4, but Demonius with that TP in, gonna get the flash out of Rek'sai. So flash for flash, both burned in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that really kind of equalizes the deficit that was caused by that last gank. Hecarim did, of course, burn his ghost, but that's a much shorter cooldown than the flash. But I want to say, in that last fight, Demonius popping that pot at the beginning, he got out at like 20 health. Had he not popped the pot, he would have gone down. Always pop your pots, guys.
Always, always, pot can save your life. I'm kidding. I don't recommend anything IRL. This is all about game, guys. This is all about the game. Moving forward in the jungle, things fairly even between the two junglers. Hecarim, a little bit of a CS advantage. I really want to see when they hit level 6 where they take those ultimates, because both can have high impact. Looks like Rek'sai might be trying to jump onto Experiment 66 on the top side, because the Jax is not only low health but doesn't have TP. He's already burned to get back to lane. Let's see if he can get out of this sticky situation. Starts the counter strike, goes in, finds a double stun. The turret's actually heading onto the Kennen. He's going to try to get out. Nice knock up the flash from Jax. Keeps alive for a moment longer, but the turret
the tower's
still
up.
Picks up the Jax. Good stuff, and almost got a double kill. Kennen was just a touch away from going down to that turret shot as well. At least 66 is traded at 1-for-1 on that top side.
Yeah, and that's totally worth the wave isn't in a terrible position for him. It probably should shove away from him, but with that TP, that's actually probably going to stop it from shoving. He'll shove it in, but all in all, not a terrible trade for 626, considering his scaling is much higher than that of Kennen.
This is one of those times that I gotta wonder in this mid lane. Is the Zoe missing spells, or is the Syndra avoiding them? Because Syndra may be floating, but she's still got some dancing moves. Walks away from both the Sleepy Time and the Paddle Star with some nice side steps there, and just kind of keeps the Zoe busy in that mid lane, while the first Drake of the game, the Mountain Drake, picked up by XLNC, which is so nice because they still have another 8 minutes to pick up these turret plates. If anyone gets onto a turret, they're going to knock those plates down so quickly.
Yep. Now, I'm wanting to see Hurricanes and Applause do one of two things, and either one works, but I don't like where they've got this wave at the moment. Either hard shove it in and start taking turret plates, or freeze it at your tower and let Applause threaten the engage. But right here, Applause can't go in on Oshawott simply because the threat of the tower. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Leona's go in.
I don't know what you're talking about. Never happened.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen my my lovely duo queue go in, and it's just a slight miscalculation on the range of the tower, and then it's like, oh, I didn't think I was going to take 2 tower shots there. And
obviously,
happen.
Cody needs to recalculate the distance the turret can fire.
Come on, Cody. What are you doing?
So bad. All right, well, we are coming up to the 8-minute mark. It's been a kill each, but again, things fairly even. We saw last game, the gold was practically even to the 30-minute mark. So both of these teams definitely have strengths in their own right. As Rek'sai on the side of the PCM, Snowberry maybe looking for a play once again on the Syndra, who doesn't have her flash up yet. Keep your eyes on that flash timer, as Rek'sai is stealing away a couple camps from the Hecarim. I don't think he's going to mind. He's on that top side.
Oh.
I
was thinking if the ult got popped there was the definite possibility with Experiment being that low on mana There's the possibility for Kennen to turn and kill him, or at least take a huge chunk of damage onto the Jax, but not going to opt for it. Hex is going to take a little more damage from the Syndra, but nothing to speak of across the map. Hurricane's going to try and shove in this wave real quick, probably then go back and spend that lot of gold. 85 CS. Hold on.
Scout of the week.
Burned.
Rek'Sai's on the run from the Hecarim. He's hit by the Sleepy Time. However, he still gets the Fear. Hecarim ultimate has been burned. He wants to keep chasing in, but the Ghost has already been burned. He's going to try to see if he can get a speed boost to come in. Won't be able to catch out the Zoe, especially as the bottom lane was already recalling and back. So, ult burned, but Hexys gets the heal to get out.
Yeah, all in all, I don't know about that back from the bottom lane. I see why they completed their recalls. Had they pincered, it would have been a kill, but I don't know if that would have been worth it for them, because then they would have had to stay in lane or lose 2 to 3 waves of CS and completely lose all of their pressure in the bot side. So it's kind of iffy. To be honest, I probably would have completed the recall as well and then gotten the BF pickaxe buy in order to stay competitive in lane.
Yeah, and the other reason is that if they were keeping their timers up, the Zoe did have her flash available, so she could have just walked into the Drake pit, flashed her over the wall to escape. So there's a possibility that, yeah, she could maybe make a terrible play and you get a kill, or you could just burn a flash. However, you can find a nice engage here where the Scatter of the Week, bless, Rek'Sai is going to go down to Sleepy Time, onto the Hecarim, under the turret. He's going to fall. So Rek'Sai makes a nice 1-for-1 trade. The flash forward from the Rek'Sai to get the knockout. Flash from the Bonius as well, but this Syndra is so low mana. And a nice engage by Snowberry. Drops everything in the mid lane. Picks up the Syndra for a 3rd kill for PCM.
Yeah, that's 2 kills for 1 in the mid lane. A good turnaround. That Sleepy Trouble bubble. Very key. Putting the Hecarim underneath the tower and getting a kill, as well as the counter gank coming through from the Rek'Sai. Really clutch stuff in the mid lane. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we have more farming.
I can't believe it. They're killing minions, and they're doing some more killing minions. However, you do have to give credit to PCM's bottom lane here. They have defended this turret quite well. I think Hurricanes might finally tap away the first of those plays. But keep in mind, they've had to Mountain Drake for the past 5 minutes, and they have, in the bottom lane, secured 1 turret play as Caitlyn. That is pretty impressive defense from PCM to make sure that Caitlyn's not grabbing a ton of gold. However, she's got a pretty good amount of gold already with that 20 CS minion lead. Kennen going in with the Slicing Maelstrom onto 626. He just gets outside of it. He's done the counter strike with the auto attack. Now he has to survive past the minions. Kennen just uses the Hextech Proto Belt to pick up the kill. Good move by 626, but a better move by Rice Massa will get himself a kill. And now another play onto the Syndra. Face first into Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Hecarim's here, looking for the Fear onto the Rek'Sai. The ace in the hole coming out from the Caitlyn. They've already dropped the Syndra. A nice stopwatch keeps Hecarim alive for a moment, but, sorry, the Rek'Sai alive for a moment. Hecarim still gets him killed.
750. That's a lot of shutdown gold going into the pocket of Mike right there, and they do have priority on
750. That was 150.
Applause in the back.
Nice tornado from Darkcast and a flash as well. They're looking for Oshwat. Looks like that is going to be the Syndra, dropping to a nice Piltover Peacemaker for the Caitlyn. And they also, that Hecarim, Mike Ox, grabbed themselves the Janna. Hecarim standing in front of the Leona. However, she's pretty tanky, so Zoe immediately heads out.
And this should be the Infernal Drake falling, and that's going to be a big pressure swing at the moment. Okay, yeah, they're just pulling it out. I was going to say, they're just backing off this? That would be a little odd. But priority, having the jungler going down, big deal, and they're blocking the shots. They're sort of blocking the shots. It's close enough. Wow, applause really low.
Oh, the Hecarim's gonna find himself one. Snowberry has to run away. A little bit of a tunnel. Nice sidestep by Mike Ox as Rek'Sai's gonna be jumped on by the Syndra. There's the ultimate unleashed power. They're trying to finish off Zoe. She's a little girl, dodging everything, getting a little bit extra damage, but can't find the Hecarim. And he's actually gonna get the shutdown credit. I think a final Q came out to finish her off. 6 kills to 6, tied up in gold, but 2 Drakes to XLNC.
Yeah, and poor Jax in the top side. Experiment not having a good time of this. Lots of poke and not a lot of jungle attention. I'm a little surprised that you haven't seen Mike go top, because you have the Kennen just sitting up there, and he doesn't have any wards or anything, and you have some decent gank assists, just a sudden jump in with Counter-Strike from Jax. That's the ultimate also burn from the Kennen. Experiment going to be going back here, but all in all, lot burned for a little game there, and I really want to see Mike make a visit to Experiment's top side, because if he gets 1 or 2 kills down onto that Kennen, whose flash is down, by the way, but if he manages to get that, I feel like if Jack's winning that side lane to the point where Kennen can't even approach the wave, then it's just going to be so good for XLNC's macro and toward the late game. So having some focus there would definitely be, and it does look like Mike has heard me and is going to be popping the go. Oh wait, no, he doesn't have the ghost. He's just gonna one-shot him.
Ultimate into fear, couple of auto attacks, takes out the cannon. Simple stuff, especially when he's just sitting there auto attacking the turret, not really paying attention. Rek'sai down here in the bottom lane, gonna go ahead and throw out the chilling smite onto Applause, force the flash out. The tornado's gonna miss. Caitlyn with a nice 90 caliber net gets herself away as well. So indecent engage from PCM, disengaged by XLNC in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Caitlyn's very flexible like that. Hold on, we might have another one. Snowberry really aggressive on this side. And that is going to be first tower in the top side, as opposed, it's going to be answered in the bot side, but just a second difference gives that money over to Experiment, and that's going to be a pretty big deal, considering he's a decent amount of CS behind, but having that extra money from the turret falling in his pockets is going to feel really good. 6
kills, 2-7, but fairly even gold. Hecker once again going in, but this time the Kennen's got his lightning rush to get himself out of harm's way. Looking like there's still some fighting around Vision, as Baron going to be up here in a little bit. So XLNC trying to make sure that they get that first dibs on the Vision around there with that Scuttle Crab. They also had excellent Vision coverage last game in that area as well. So I'm expecting similar things from them this game, as they've already got a couple deep wards into enemy territory.
The real story this game, not Demonius, but it is Mike in the jungle. Hold on.
Unleash power. Rek'sai is going to be in trouble. Flashes the wall. That is Zoe's actual flash. So that is going to be down for a little bit. Keep your eyes on Zoe next time she's in trouble. 626 trying to make a play on the top side. He knows the Hacker's behind him, but he's lost a lot of health. Drops the ultimate. Now Leona going to come forward, drop her own. Stun up the Silver. She's going to be in trouble. Janna as well. Fear. Ace in the hole going to be blocked by the Janna. However, I don't know if that's going to be enough. The Rek'sai here trying to get a little bit of damage onto the Hecarim. Ults and can't find the kill. Caitlyn will pick that up. Hurricanes with a good pick-off, and again, a great engage. We talked about during picks and bans, Excellent's opportunity to just go all forward, and you saw 3 members committing 3 ultimates pick up 2 kills on the top side.
Yeah, and the thing is that Mike is so far ahead on this Hecarim that a 3v3 skimmers, even though it started off in like all of the skill shots that needed to be landed from PCM actually hit. You interrupted a lot of the engage from XLNC, but you just have such a lead on this jungler that it's oppressive to play against. And as I was saying it, right as I was saying it in the mid lane, you know, Demonius isn't the star of this game. He like basically 1v1s Hexus in the mid lane. He's like, "What'd you say about me? What'd you say? Say it again."
Say it again. I'll prove to you why the enemy team needs to fear me. And last game, they definitely felt that fear. So far, it's looking pretty good for Team XLNC. This one as well. They're 1,000 gold up. They're positioning for the next Drake, which is the second Infernal Drake. They are 1 game up, so if they win this game, they will secure themselves the series against PCM in the Diamond League of Immortal Gaming. Immortal.
The difference. I mean, they both got kicked out of the LCS, right?
Oh. All right. Well, Zoe's gonna half Applause's health in the river here, as it's looking like XLNC was kind of vying for position, waiting for Jax to join them. He's around the corner. I don't think he's been seen yet. However, this should be a 5v5 fight, as everyone
Proto
is
Belt.
here. Scuttle Crab is up, so Hecarim's going to go ahead and try to grab that. I don't know if Zoe seals it away. She does!
Oh!
She gets it with the paddle star. That's what I was wondering, if she was going to be waiting over the wall for it. Good stuff there. And that actually might be the call from XLNC to back away. No, okay, hold on. They're going to immediately jump because PCM, they've sent that cannon towards that top side. Not sure how XLNC knew, but they're going to go ahead and immediately jump on it. Rek'sai's dropping Hurricanes down to about half. Rek'sai's here as well. And XLNC is almost all backing away, except for the Hecarim. He tries to steal away. He gets the Infernal! He's going to lose his life, but he steals the Infernal. That, I think, was worth it when it's a second Infernal to your team.
So as long as they don't lose too much off of this, I think Demonies should be able to wave clear this out with Hurricanes needs to be here to grant assistance. But yeah, so long as they don't lose this
Oh,
turn.
they might even fight a little bit more. Diana ultimate trying to disengage the fight, but it's already been burned. Kennen slicing Maelstrom, dropping people underneath the turret. Goes Golden as applause drops to the Zoe, who's already cleaning up 2 kills, and it's looking like XLNC's going to lose the fight. Nice little stun from Demonius, but is it going to be enough? Forces the flash out of the Zoe. That was a E flash, as it wasn't her own, and now Demonius has to avoid the auto attack damage and can't do it. As a nice ultimate from Rek'sai to be able to pick up that last one, making it a delayed ace from the side of PCM. You talked about they can't lose too much. Well, that pretty much evens things up, at least after the fight, because that is an ace for an Infernal Drake.
Yeah, but they didn't get turrets, which is what I was concerned about. And that's kind of the thing. An ace, that evens the kill count and puts it a little bit in their advantage. Gold, pretty much even across the board. You've got about a 1K lead for PCM. But Infernal Drake doesn't show in the gold stats. And a second one stacked up, that's a lot of bonus damage. You're going from a 10 to 17% bonus attack damage. And on this Hecarim, who already has, I think, 6 kills. I thought he got a 7th in that last fight, but I was wrong. And Demonius, who, while not laying down the big kill lines, has been doing a lot of damage in these last fights. I'm thinking this is getting along toward that part of the game where Jax just starts smashing.
They're just playing with each other, each dropping spells, trying to see if the other's going to fully commit
Jax
or
did
not.
ult.
Yeah, it's an ult for, I believe that was just the lightning rush from the cannon. So without that ultimate, he's going to be backing away, heading into his own jungle, saying, I'm going to wait for the cannon to push out that wave a little bit further before I come in. But once again, it looking like XLNC is going to be playing that 1-4 line, which means you got to look at those TPs. Cannon, no TP, Jax with it. So if they decide they want to start up the Baron, they could bring all 5 members to a Baron fight.
Yep. And Jack's going to knock down this minion wave and then get into kind of a position where he could TP if he wanted to. Good movement from the cannon. Got to give him props. Knowing that he's down the TP whenever he's cleared out the wave, starts walking towards the Baron. So he will have priority and be able to get into that fight. I think XLNC really wants to avoid a Baron fight. Because the cannon ultimate is never more useful than in closed terrain, and when everybody, I mean, you saw it with Vel'Koz's ultimate in the last game when Demonius just wiped the enemy team with a good life form disintegration ray. So staying away from the Baron and then just, poking down towers using the Caitlyn. Rotating with Caitlyn, I think, is their best win condition here because she's so good at taking towers. Of course, that's going to be a little bit difficult with Oshawott Sivir. Hold on, we've got a pick right here.
Oh, wait, the flash forward for Demonius, plus the unleashed power gets the kill. The fear onto the Zoe, knocking her back into the team. XLNC's picked up 2 members back to back, and the most crucial.
That's going to be Baron.
Yeah, they got the jungler. Jax is still in the bottom lane. He's got that TP if he wants to use it. Sivir and Janna are around the corner. They could try to re-engage a fight around the Baron, but it would be very, very scary as Demonius at about half health is gonna just still pop people. The cannon's coming in, looking for the slicing Maelstrom. He's been stunned up. There it is. He's gonna Zhonya's as well. He's able to pick up 1. Jax TPing in, jumping onto the Janna. Ace in the hole, still catches out the Sivir despite the heal being burned. Darkest looks like she might be able to escape with a nice tornado, but it's back onto the Baron for Team XLNC.
Yep, and there's no contest here. Hold on, we do have Snowberry back up. And this should go down in time. Yeah, there's no way that Rek'sai gets there in time to actually smite this away.
Oh, might catch applause, though. Sitting at under 100 health. Rek'sai coming up. However, he's looking for the Baron pit. Just stops the Jax recall. He's going to jump to a ward. Oh, the ultimate from Rek'sai over the wall. Continuing to chase forward onto 626. Snowberry. This is a bit aggressive, running through the enemy team jungle. Just gets a control ward and backs away.
I was going to say, chasing any further forward, and you're going to run into 4 extra members, and that's going to be a big problem. Snowberry posturing in the mid lane, but with everybody back up. Hold on. Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, but I don't think there's going to be much coming out of that one, considering how many people are surrounding Mike right there.
And when Caitlyn crits you for half of your health, you reconsider diving in to someone who's got plenty of close range. Nice stun onto Darkest from the Syndra. Demonius getting another chunk of damage. Jax is splitting on the top side. He doesn't have TP, so this could be a bad 4v5 fight for XLNC. But PCM has a couple of members that are sitting at fairly low health. They back away for now from the Mountain Drake. It's the second Mountain Drake of the game. Would be the first for PCM.
I don't think it's a big deal. They can give this away and it'll be okay. Mountain Drake's really nice if you're the team who's ahead and is pushing their lead, and has the ability to really threaten those objectives. But it's one of those Drakes that if you have to give it away, like you're ahead and you don't want to risk losing your lead because you have teleport advantage or disadvantage on the top side, then it's definitely a good one to give away. So good macro, good decision making from XLNC, not trying to force that and instead taking 2 towers in reply. But you have Snowberry up on the top side of this fight right here. He could definitely flank it, and Demonius might be caught out here.
Well, it might be Demonius, it might be Rek'sai, who avoids the unleashed power with the ultimate. Are you kidding me? I think that was an accident, but Snowberry made it look cool. Jack still coming in, gonna hit that cannon up. However, he's hit with this sleepy time, about half health. Battlestar comes in, dropping him low. However, he's been able to survive with that ultimate. Gets out alive for now. XLNC making those pings back up, maybe considering recalling as the cannon gonna go in with a lightning storm. Nice knockback from the Syndra. It's gonna be the cannon going down, and now the Hecarim's looking for the re-engage onto Darkest. The Janna ult flashes the wall, but can't avoid the auto attack crit from the Caitlyn, who's in trouble. Snowberry going in, but Leona is here, drops the ultimate. It's gonna be whipped, and now Hurricane's in trouble. Caitlyn drops applause, left alone. Hecarim around the corner. The Zoe pushing her back. Snowberry still alive, and the Syndra, despite the TP, can't find anyone. Sleepy time forces that fight to end, and in the end, I think it was fairly even between the two teams.
Yeah, you got 2 kills down onto the 80 carry, versus I think Zoe got one of the kills. Am I right? I can't remember. Anyway.
No, Zoe died fairly early on in the fight when she was trying to jump in onto Syndra. She got dropped. But some of it was also left over from the Syndra fighting Rek'sai. So, I don't know. Either way, it's still about a 3,000 gold lead for XLNC.
Yep. And XLNC putting themselves in a pretty good position overall to start pressuring a win on this game. I'm really liking their position mainly because they got those 2 Infernal Drakes. And just about everybody on their team likes damage. I mean, who doesn't like damage? Really. I mean,
Leona loves damage. As a support main, when I'm Leona, I really want to just be maximizing my damage output at every opportunity. AD, attack speed, Janna, or
you've obviously
Leona
never played. You've obviously never played the Trinity Force Hail of Blades Leona.
Top lane Leona? I've heard of it. I've heard of the legendary Leona.
I saw it in bot lane. It was actually petrifying.
Wait, bot lane?
Yeah, because Hail of Blades, like, there was this time when they did something to her numbers, but she was dealing a lot of auto attack damage, and you would take Hail of Blades on her, and she'd like 75% you before the ADC actually ended up hitting you. It was pretty dumb.
Claws stepping in front of that paddle star, making sure that Hecarim doesn't lose too much health. Speaking of Leona, at this point in the game, has picked up that Knight's Vow. May be kind of transitioning, we'll see, into... she's got a cloth armor at the moment, so that might be a Locket of Iron Solari coming out next, potentially. We'll find out. As we got about 2 to 3 items for most members in the game Caitlyn 3.5 at this point with that Vampiric Scepter as well. No defensive items from the side of PCM's mid lane or ADC this time around, so they're still looking at maximizing their damage output.
Yeah, Caitlyn in a stronger combat position at the moment. Sivir's build is more expensive, and when she hits her 3-item spike, it will be stronger. But Caitlyn definitely more powerful on the map right now, and they need to leverage that advantage. Snowberry might be caught here. No.
Good tunnel gets Rek'Sai out of the ultimate from Leona. However, that is a deceptively short ultimate on Leona. I know that from personal experience. So it will be likely right back up for the next fight. And once again, XLNC, check out the vision around the Baron. They have just completely covered this topside jungle, littered the jungle with vision wards. So they'll know if PCM tries to make a play. So far, the grouping is 4, still leaving Jax to split push in the bottom lane.
And as you were saying, you know, Applause's ultimate has like 10 seconds on it now. So it's one that you can go fishing with, so to speak, and not have a big issue. And skill shots just getting thrown around, a little bit of poking. Almost connects with that max range paddle star, and that would have done a lot of damage. You did mention the Vampiric Scepter that has been picked up for the Caitlyn, and Vamp Scepter is one of those deceptively powerful items that once you get it late, the difference between having no lifesteal and having any amount of lifesteal is ridiculous. It's the difference of being able to stay in a fight even though you get chunked at the beginning and then just going to farm raptors or something like that.
All right, so Jax picks up the Windrake for his team as all 5 members of PCM are here. However, XLNC knows that they're around. Good vision coverage, though. PCM clearing the wards out as they head towards the Baron. Will they start it up, or are they just trying to secure their own vision?
That's probable. I don't think they have... Like, they didn't see Jax back, and they didn't see his HP after he took down that Drake. So they're probably going to be a little bit safe here and assume that XLNC could engage on them if they wanted to. And that's just going to be back and forth with vision once again.
So the back and forth war not leading to too much at the moment. Lots of wards invested from both sides. However, on the side of XLNC, they were able to pick up the neutral Drake of the Wind Drake, their 4th Drake of the game.
This has been spotted.
The Baron started up and called off as there was still that ward. Interesting choice from PCM to start it up. Again, not really sure why they didn't keep going with Jax in that bottom lane. They should be aware that he's got the TP though, but you kind of want to sit on Baron until you're able to burn the split pusher's TP, and then you back away. But Kennen having to walk all the way down there to deal with Jax to keep his own TP up.
I think they were just trying to sneak and cheese one out, hoping that XLNC wasn't watching. But they got spotted having that blue ward. I need to take those more often. It's just so often I end up stuck with a brand support or something like that. Somebody who's salty that they didn't get mid lane. Fine, I'm gonna play mid support, and then they play something like Vel'Koz bottom lane or brand support or something like that, which when played well actually does well, but usually when I play with them they don't do well and they don't ward at all. So I hold on to my yellow trinket and do most of the warding for my bot side. Hold on.
Leona might be coming in for a play. Drops that ultimate. Catches 2 member. Hacker Room ultimate going to come in as well. Ace in the hole is used. Flies in. Only hits the Janet who's already getting the heal. But Jax is coming in from the side. Leona taking that front line. However, there's no one here to support. Finally, Caitlyn shows up. Syndra's able to pick up a kill. Rek'Sai tries to go in and finish off the Jax. He has to flash, but the Unleashed Power will give a double kill to Syndra. And now they can turn on to Rek'Sai. The flash used by Zoe to get out of the Caitlyn who's got red buff. So fight won by XLNC as they pick up 2. And again, they pick up that crucial member of the jungler. Snowberry going down. They can now turn onto the Baron once more.
Yeah, but you have to be aware that Kennen does have his ultimate as well as a decent advantage for himself. But the TP coming in from Jax is likely going to dissuade, because if they lose a fight here, then that's very, very possible. Never mind.
Oh, that was so well attempted by Kennen to sneak around those traps. However, that's in vision of the side of XLNC, and Syndra finds a beautiful stun, and that's going to be a quick kill on that Kennen going over to them. They've got the Baron as well onto all 5 members, so pressure in this game mounted by XLNC, 6,000 gold in the lead. Now they have to just choose what lane they want to try to start to knock on those inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, and the big problem when you're trying to sneak through Caitlyn's turrets is if the other members on Kate's team are intelligent. Like, you walk right between those traps, but then you've predicted your movement. It's like when you're walking right between 2 walls, like, you can't juke, because then you get stunned. So at that point, Syndra is just like, okay, well, if you're gonna effectively CC yourself, because you're walking, it's like a charm. Like, you have to walk on this path, so aiming skill shots is easy. So definitely, Demoni is taking advantage of that brief predictive pathing and getting a kill onto the 1 member who could have stopped that Baron. Speaking of big objectives, by the way, you've got 4 Drakes, and oh wait, no, it's not the, I thought the Elder was coming up, but it's just off of time. They got that last Drake about 30 seconds too early, and it's going to be a win Drake rather than an infernal.
Looks like the pressure's to the bottom lane. Jax is flipping on the top side. They're going to try to grab the Zoe. She's going to go ahead and go golden. Rek'Sai is here over the wall. Ekrim comes in with an ice spear, and that's going to keep Zoe from going anywhere. She's going to drown, but now the Kennen going to re-engage, find a double stun, but those are the tanky members. Leona is going to go down, but her sacrifice is worth it because she's given 2 kills over to the carries. Make it 3. Sivir has to flee as she's the only member left alive for the side of PCM, and that's going to be the top lane inhibitor going down. The bottom lane second tier turret going to fall as well. And XLNC is getting everything. This might be the end of the game as it's 30 seconds on most of the members, and they want to make it 30 seconds on everyone. Sivir still alive, getting a couple more auto attacks down, but the Syndra is here. She's going to go ahead and go golden. Maybe that sets up the... Wait, wow, that was a very early Q. Ace in the hole comes out. I don't think it's going to be enough. But ladies and gentlemen, XLNC will shut down PCM and secure Game 2 and the series in Week 3 of the Immortal Games Diamond Series.
Yeah, Team XLNC looking clean, especially right there at the end. They were all just so on point with their shot calling. They were all just going super aggressive toward the end of that game. There, something I have to give XLNC props for is their decisiveness. When they see that ability, that's really where you can determine a low elo game from a high elo game, is that high elo always takes the maximum. It's like, you know, we could go for the Drake because it's up right now, or we could go and win the game. Low elo games often lose track of the fact that the objective is to destroy the Nexus and nothing else really matters at the end of it. So, XLNC, they knock down most of the members, and they're like, you know, we could just win the game right now. So, I'm going to give out not MVPs and not honorable mentions right now, and just say you guys are awesome. Let's go with the losing team first. I'm gonna give PCM, let's see, who's worth, okay, Kennen, top side, Asian rice masa. Wow, good job laning all the way through, and his threatening with the ultimates even in team fights really shut down Experiment. I was expecting Experiment to take over toward the 20-25 minute mark, but using that lightning rush for spacing and keeping himself safe and still landing the harassment down onto the Jax kept the champion from ever really popping off. Still had good usefulness in team fights, as well as knocking down towers whenever Kennen left for a team fight. Let's see, Snowberry on the Rek'Sai had really great pressure in the early game. I think he came bot lane and got a kill onto Hurricanes, as well as getting a good couple of ganks off in the mid lane as well. Hexus actually did a good job in the mid lane, not getting smashed by Demonius. Not winning lane, but not losing like last time, so that was some good mechanics moving around the lane. I don't know how much of that is comfort on the champion, but keeps himself from getting utterly eviscerated, which is nice, because Demonius was just absolute terror in game 1, but staying even, really good on him. Hurricanes, I want to give props on this Caitlyn. The last game was really the applause show in terms of bot lane, but Hurricane's trap placement in those late game team fights, you'd have, remember what I said at the beginning of the game, I love playing against champions that like Zhonya's Hourglass as Caitlyn, because you'd have Kennen dive into the team. I noted it in the last 3 team fights that were the really big ones. Whenever Kennen would drop his ultimate and then Zhonya's, he would die instantly as he came out of it, because the combined damage of that empowered trap, as well as the damage coming through from whatever other member was close, would just one-shot the very squishy mouse right there. Did the same thing to Hexus, and then the trap placement. So Hurricane's definitely getting big props from me on that. Applause, the engages in the mid lane, as well as the roaming, and always having his foot on her foot on the gas pedal going forward in the team composition, as we were saying earlier. Having 3 members who really like to go in, especially with Mike, who really needs probably the biggest props on his team, because he was the big carry in the early game that kept everything
You need not follow,
5-1 at
but you must witness.
6-3, but got himself a lot more assists. Definitely worth playing, or worth pointing out there. And then Demonius not dying early, not going super big in the early to mid game like he did last time, but still ends up with a respectable 7-3. And his CC using the Scatter the Weak to hit multiple members in team fights and lock people down. Oh, I didn't even notice this. He ended up going Spellbinder, which makes total sense. You drop that right before you drop the ultimate, it would be basically like old DFG. You amp your damage right before you toss that giant wombo onto somebody. I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm still partial to Syndra. Anyway, so those are my not MVPs and not honorable mentions.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to be right back for game number 3 of the night, but it is going to be a free play game. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that exclamation point join with your in-game name added to the end of it, and we'll get you into game. We're going to take a quick break and be right back as we get set up for our first free play game of the night, where you guys get to make your own epic plays like you just watched. We'll BRB. Don't go anywhere.